What is going on, Notre Dame fans? Mike Singer and Tim Hyde live on the Blue and Gold YouTube channel. Thank you, everyone watching live, watching back, listening via podcast. Thank you for making us a part of your day. So much to talk about, as always. Tim, I feel like it's been months since we covered non-Deuce Night recruiting stuff on the Notre Dame football show. But we're back. We're talking some recruiting. We're going to talk Notre Dame football as well, but definitely discuss Notre Dame's two new commitments that took place on Monday. One of them being a quarterback who the Irish flipped from Clemson, who Tim Hyde likes a lot. We'll discuss that in a bit. Folks, hit the thumbs up on this video. Subscribe to the channel for more content. If you're watching back, leave us a comment. I read all of the comments. Let us know what you're thinking about what we're saying. And if you're listening via podcast, appreciate you as well. Leave us a 5-star review wherever you listen to your podcast. And please fill out why you're leaving us a 5-star review. But if you're leaving us a 1-star review, maybe just go do something else. You don't need to do that. Tim, how you doing, my friend? What's new?
Hey, huge win on Saturday. Going down to Atlanta, right, Mike? It's just one game at a time. I mean, I know we got some commits, we got a massive injury news, but the train keeps moving. It's still about winning every single week, staying in that playoff hunt, staying in the bracketology, correct, Mike? And it's exciting. So Notre Dame keeps getting better. Riley Leonard keeps getting better. He was in the after NIU, he was 93rd in QBR, which is the ESPN quarterback rating analytics. 83rd. I don't have it on me. I want to say he's up to 34, 32 or 34. Every single week, he just keeps rising and rising and rising. So go down to Atlanta. They got a hell of a quarterback. We'll see if he plays. He's a damn good quarterback. He's good. He's really good quarterback. So we'll see if he's I know he was banged up, missed the end of that game on Saturday. But, it's funny. I was thinking real quick, Tyler Horka, just to jump in that, posting all the defensive stats. And none of them matter because all Georgia Tech does is run. So it's all these pass stats and pass defense and all this cute little stuff. None of that matters because the three best teams they got to play are Georgia Tech, Navy, Army, and they will run the ball down your throat if you don't stop the run. So, for me, moving forward, Al Golden, I know you love pass defense. Doesn't really matter in most of these games moving forward. So let's stop the run and let's get our butts in the playoffs.
Okay.
There you go.
Tim,
that's my opening statement.
just real quick, I'm sure you rewatched the game 6 times. And anything stand out to you rewatching Notre Dame versus Stanford that maybe didn't on your first watch?
Yes. The defensive line was absolutely better. The more you watch those guys, they were just studs. And then I watched your show with Mike on Sunday. I rewatched it last night when I was actually watching the game and had put it on mute and listened to you guys. Bowen at linebacker, he really, really has improved. He has been so much better than I expected. Every single week keeps getting better. But to me, it's the 2 benched offensive linemen. Those guys are blocking their freaking tails off. So I know Rocco had a nationally upper echelon ranked game. Horka posted, I think, the best guard or maybe the second best guard or third best lineman overall in the entire country this past weekend per PFF. And Pat Coogan, man, he is graded in the 70s, which is really damn good blocking football. So those guys, to me, it's just kudos to those guys for just sitting there, got beat out, and Joe Rudolph's going with some other guys, and those guys have stayed in the game, mentally in the game, leadership. You see the leadership on the damn field, like the way they're cheering for each other and the teammates and things of that nature. It's so noticeable between those two. So those are 2 guys that are just playing above their pay grade, so to speak. They are really playing good football.
What do you do when Billy Schroff comes back?
Man, flip a coin. He's a stud. If he wasn't I said before he got hurt, if he was not injured, he was going to be on an All-American team this year. He was going to be on one of the 3. he was having that good of a season. So you got to play him. I'm a big fan of Pendleton. I think Pendleton keeps getting better and better and better. He's just a violent, angry dude. It's very noticeable to me, real quick, on Ashton, obviously, became a starter when the injury to Zeke last year, and then Pendleton. It is very noticeable athleticism between Stam and Ashton to Pat and Rocco. So you don't take Pendleton out, because I think him and Knapp they've taken every single damn snap together this year. So you just keep letting those guys keep getting some work. So, but I just wanted to do a quick shout out to Rocco. He is just playing. That was the best football game. All the games last year, his best game last year was Navy. So Navy and Duke, he had really, really good games I was looking at. And then that was his best game he's ever played. And Coogan is the highest graded offensive lineman now on the season. So he's passed Emil Wagner. So kudos to him. Oh, and last year, real quick, because people constantly talk about Knapp. And I know they have Knapp because he has given up some plays, and we always remember those, correct? It's kind of like Riley Leonard. All everyone thinks about Riley Leonard is the damn interception against NIU, even though he keeps getting better and better, and he's constantly improving. So I went back. Anthony Knapp has a higher, once again, PFF, Mike, right? You and I are all about data points, analytics, stats. It's not the end of the be all, okay? But his PFF grade is higher than Robert Hainsey, who was a freshman starter as well. So I found that pretty interesting. So I went and looked at that. And another little tidbit, I started looking at Emil Wagner real quick, is obviously a redshirt sophomore, third year in the program. I looked at Liam Eichenberg in 2018, who was the same as obviously Emil Wagner. And I just threw in Blake Fisher, even though Blake had a ton of starts and whatnot as a junior. Emil Wagner is a higher graded player right now than Liam Eichenberg. And Eichenberg ended up being an Outland Trophy finalist his senior year. So, and Emil Wagner's pass blocking grade this year is better than Blake Fisher's last year. So just a couple little stats when people about the O-line, are they improving and whatnot. It was young as could be. The most experienced guys were benched, and I can see a lot of improvement. So it's all about the next week, though, and that's Georgia Tech. So just a couple of good things. Emil Wagner, you and I keep talking about in our post-game shows, probably the most consistent, most steady player out there, and the grades show that when comparing him to Fisher and Eichenberg as juniors. So I found that pretty interesting just looking at some of the data today.
Our friends over at Prize Picks are sponsoring this week's show, and I have to tell you, testing my skills on Prize Picks during football season is the most exciting way to play daily fantasy. Quick withdrawals, easy gameplay, an enormous selection of players and stat types are what make Prize Picks the #1 daily sports fantasy sports app. If you have the skills, you can turn $10 into $1,000 with just a few taps. Select 2 or more players, pick more or less on their projected stats, place your entry. Going back to all of the different, stat types and leagues and whatnot. You got NFL, you got NHL, MLB, college football, soccer, baseball. You got MMA, video games, WNBA. Tennis. I mean, the list really just does go on and on. Prize Picks offers weekly promotions that can lead to big payouts like Taco Tuesday, which I got a pair. See, Alvin Kamara it's discounted from 34 more or less receiving yards down to 19.5. So I'm gonna have to find a good pair for Alvin Kamara this Taco Tuesday at Prize Picks. So my one current lineup I have right now is Logan Thompson. He was a taco for this week. He's a goalie in the NHL, more than 22.5 saves. And I paired that with Drake May to throw a touchdown against the Jaguars. Tim, do you like that?
Dude, Drake May was
he threw 3 last game, right?
Yeah, led the team in rushing as well. He's running for his life because the Patriots probably have one of the 3 worst O-lines in the NFL. But hey, sitting on the bench, learn for a little bit. He's off and running. How do you play it? I mean, they obviously beat Miami. I guess the toe doesn't count to certain refs, but that's another story.
Oh, hey, fins up, baby. Hey, we'll take the wins where we can get them. Hey, folks, download.
Exactly. Parcells always said you are what your record is, and it is an L. I do agree. So,
folks, download the PrizePicks app or head to prizepicks.com. Use the code BGI. Use those 3 letters, BGI. You will receive a guaranteed $50 once you play $5 in lineups. PrizePicks, daily fantasy sports made easy. Thank you to our friends over at PrizePicks. I absolutely love PrizePicks. It is so much fun to play. Yeah, it's like you're watching a Sunday night game. Make a little entry. It's a lot of fun. I enjoy it. All right, Tim. We have. Dude, this is brutal.
Yeah.
Notre Dame cornerback Ben Morrison out for season with hip injury. I mean, you can go wherever you want with this, Tim, but my thought is, like, how big of a deal is this? Like, is it that much less likely that Notre Dame's able to win out, or is it more just less likely that they win a playoff game? Or are you going to give me some, one game at a time thing? Come on, don't give me that, Tim. Come on, that's why we pay you the big bucks. Give me what's your take on this? How does this affect Notre Dame's season?
Well, I mean, it absolutely sucks. Let's just be brutally honest. He's one of the premier players in the country. There's nothing good about this. So, which is interesting because he kept playing. Now is it one of those lingering things he's had for a while and he just played and the doc's like, just get it cleaned up now. So
I think the hip is new, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, there's some rumblings out there that he's been hurt, he's been sore. So, and now it's like he got an extra.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the dude's running around like crazy in a game. He didn't look like he got hurt in the game. So it's curious to see how, if anything ever comes out officially, what it really is.
Or what happened.
No, exactly. Exactly. I mean, he was playing.
Did you remember seeing him get hurt during the game?
Is it something to do with the Louisville game? Remember Louisville? He went into the whatchamacallit, the locker room and came running back out. So was there something then? Is like, do I got to tweak or whatever? But then he goes and does the corner blitz. Logan Thomas scoops and scores, calls back, obviously. Played last week, didn't play, second half or the fourth quarter, whatever. Never saw him get injured, never saw him limping on the sideline, nothing like that. So that's why it's like, what type of an injury is it? So, but he's not playing, which sucks. He's an elite corner. He's one of the premier players. He's a first-round draft pick. It's like losing Joe Alt. So I know we could all sit here and say, well, Leonard Moore is up next, Carson Hobbs, you can move Nichols. Yes, those are bodies. Notre Dame has bodies. They have really good football players to move around. Leonard Moore played like 80 snaps against Louisville. He never came off the field. So that's probably the best wide receiver group they're going to play, and he played every snap against them. And but losing Morrison stinks. The good thing, which never is a good thing, is what I said to open the show. They're playing ground and pound football teams coming up. They're not playing no elite passing team until they get SC, Miller Moss, and they got some really good wide receivers. So you got 2 option teams and Georgia Tech, who just ran for almost 400 yards last week. So, and their rushing offense is right up there, the same as Notre Dame's. They got a really good rush defense, better than Notre Dame. So that's going to be an interesting game on Saturday. But no, it stinks. I mean, we could talk about playoffs. Yeah. Do you want him if you're going to be playing Alabama and Georgia? I mean, let's say Georgia loses this week to Texas. Georgia better win out and make it as a 10-2, 8-9 seed, which means you're playing Notre Dame. I'm just throwing that out there. Let's say it's Georgia at 10-2, Notre Dame 11-1, playing in that 8-9 game. Let's say, yeah, you want him against Carson Beck and those Georgia guys, no doubt about it. So that just stinks. It really does. So, but Notre Dame, the silver lining, which I know I was chatting with some guys about that, like they have bodies.
Okay.
We saw this without Christian Gray in the Louisville game where they could interchange guys, which goes back to the greatest thing in college football is the portal. Notre Dame is just going to keep finding guys in the portal. So Clark, Hurd are probably the 2 biggest, most important guys now moving forward.
I like it. I'm going to go back to my original question, though. Like, is this something where it's like, oh, Notre Dame can lose games because of this? Like, corner,
No,
how
you
well
don't.
can you hide?
You can't
Like,
hide anybody. You can't hide at corner. Al Gold is not going to all of a sudden go,
right.
we're going to rotate and start playing cloud coverage to Leonard Moore and everyone else play. We're not going to roll coverage to Leonard Moore. Leonard Moore just went against dudes against Louisville and covered them. The one touchdown he gave up was an Alabama transfer who played at Alabama, and it was one of the most perfect passes you could make right over the top of him. I don't know. Is Virginia going to be scary throwing the ball? Hell no. Florida State, you and I are throwing the ball this year for Florida State. It's that bad. And then you have all these run teams. Run. I mean, it's run nonstop. Yes, Navy and Army. Everyone's like, oh, we're worried about Army and Navy. It's play action. Sure. They'll probably simplify the game somewhat for the corners to cover the slots and the wings and things of that nature. But passing game wise, it should not hurt Notre Dame until the USC game. So that gives these guys, another 5 games, right? To get your feet wet and get going. So trying to find a silver lining, because as a coach, that's what you do. You can't do nothing. What's done is done. And I'm sure Mickens and all them knew all this stuff on Sunday, probably knew it Saturday night, and whatnot. And the plan starts cranking up right there and roll from there. But I just saw these stats on PFF, which is like insane, Mike. So Benjamin Moore's career stats is crazy. What is it right here? He played almost 50% of the time in pure man coverage in his career, which is the up 98 percentile. Only 2% of corners played more than him since he's been playing. He's in the top 90%, meaning that's elite. 0.83 yards per coverage. Every single snap. So you take into effect every snap, whether it's run, pass, whatever. And then obviously you throw in the yards. All these weird stats they give up. He's giving up 0.8 yards a play against him. That's freakish. So it's, once again, that's up in the upper A+ type range. So, and only 46 completion percentage against him. And I saw another stat. The average per attempt against him is only 5 yards. 5 yards against Ben Morrison in his career. So that tells you the type of guys. Yeah, someone said locked up Marvin Harrison. And just real quick, I know it's probably a comment and we could jump into this for 12 seconds, is does he come back? The NFL, things of that nature. I mean, we don't know, because we don't know the hip injury. We don't know how long is it, all those things. Film-wise, he doesn't need to play anymore.
No, yeah.
He's got games against Clemson, SC, Heisman Trophy winner. You got, obviously, the Ohio State games. You name it, he's done it. So his film is elite first-round talent. Now it's just going to come down to what is the issue with that hit moving forward. So just some freakish stats. It shows how darn elite he is. But as I use the analogy about Joe Alt, we said for 9 months the O-line was going to take a dip. Oh, you could just plug and play guys. It's hard.
Yeah.
So we're going to see a slip up here and there from Moore or Gray. I mean, Gray gives up easy stuff all the time. He did against Stanford a bunch. So, but then they start to clamp up and their talent starts to overtake over the 4 quarters. So, we'll see, we'll see what happens. They may give up something, because Morrison obviously is that old saying, right? Just lock down that one whole side. That's why they throw to Christian Gray so much. So now can you spread it out more, or teams just going to boom? We're going to attack the living hell out of the freshman.
Just one ND gal, thank you for the $5 super chat. She says, I see in the call season is going to be a problem. ESPN has us out of the CFP after destroying Stanford. Thank you for the super chat. Tim, I forgot we wanted to talk about this real quick. The bracketology.
Oh, yeah, our favorite thing.
This is our favorite thing. Oh, man, it's week 8. Why are we talking about bracketology? Hey, save the comments. I don't care.
If Notre Dame loses the game, we won't talk about it because they're out of it. So let's just get that out of the way, all right? Notre Dame's
that's true.
They're alive.
And we'll talk about it from We'll save it for like the end of the show. Be like, oh, let's look at the rest of the college football landscape.
Oh, yeah.
All right,
Let's see where
so
Brett McMurphy has Notre Dame going this week in their minor bowl projections. We don't want to get to that point, fans. So we enjoy this.
Oregon, Texas, BYU, and Clemson getting the first 4 seeds and buys. I'm not going to explain that. I've been through that. And then the 8-9, Bama, Georgia. Yes. 7-10. This is Andy Staples' bracketology.
I get that.
7-10, Miami hosting Notre Dame. Yes. That would be awesome.
That'd be great.
6-11, Penn State, A&M. You know, that's fine.
That'd be a nice whiteout game there. So.
And then Ohio State hosting Navy. This just seems like it would be.
It's a playoff.
Perfect.
Right?
Tim, this would be the perfect playoff, in my opinion. You get the Catholics versus convicts reunion game, right?
Yep.
Bama, Georgia in the first round. I mean, Bama, Georgia is amazing every single time. Ohio State, Navy, just seeing those two teams playing in a college football playoff game would be amazing. And Penn State, A&M, I mean, you get two iconic brands playing each other like that. This would be awesome. This would be awesome.
Yeah, I mean, it's what I've been saying. I think the ACC, barring some major upset, but if things keep going how they're going, Clemson and Miami are both going to be in. The winner's in, and the loser's going to make it in the championship game. I truly believe that. The Big 12 is going to have they're just knocking the hell out of each other. So unless BYU and Iowa State are just undefeated and they both get in after one loss in their title game, so we'll see what happens. The group of 5 is a battle. I don't know if anyone's following this, but it is competitive times hell. It is just crazy this year. The amount of teams that are like, I mean, look at them all right there. UNLV is unbelievable on offense. Their quarterback quit on him, and they're better on offense now since he's left. Boise's, I mean, the guy should be the Heisman favorite, their running back. Please go pro. I don't want to see him next year in South Bend. Go pro. Just please. And then obviously Army Navy. You have Army Navy eligible for a playoff. What is it? The stat they posted the first time since 1960. Both are ranked at the same time in October, which is awesome. So, and these guys can play. How about that, Mike? How about they could play back-to-back weeks? They could play in their conference championship game, and then I think it's the week after that they could be playing in the veterans game there in Philadelphia. So that would be epic if they could play back-to-back weeks, right? Can you? Hopefully they're not undefeated playing each other.
Right.
Yeah, Notre Dame getting ready to play Washington State in the Holiday Bowl. We don't want that. So, but it's fun. Notre Dame's alive, man. They were deader than a doorknob, right? 5 weeks ago. Out of sight, out of mind, and they just keep creeping up, man. Keep creeping up. So it's pretty awesome. I enjoy it. Oregon, I watched that game. There's too many athletes on the field. It's not even fair. Outson Stadium is unbelievable atmosphere. So that place was rocking Saturday night.
I'll talk about an opportunity to potentially see Notre Dame in the college football playoff, and it's through a sponsor. And I can even get you a little discount. Can you just imagine seeing Notre Dame live in person in the college football playoff? This is where we're going to talk about Game Time. Sponsor for today's show, GameTime.co, not GameTime.com. So go to the website, check it out, GameTime.co, a fast and easy way to buy tickets for sports, music, comedy, and theater near you with killer last-minute ticket deals. You don't got to get stressed. You just relax and get hyped for that fun that you are going to have. Website, super easy to manage. The app is great. Download the app, Game Time. They have all sorts of cool features. You got Game Time Picks. That makes getting tickets to see your favorite teams play even easier. Game Time Picks filters out the fluff to show you only incredible deals on great seats. You don't have to waste time searching through thousands of ticket options. You got the all-in pricing. Toggling this feature on shows the total up front with no surprise fees at checkout. You can even get a panoramic seat view to get a look at what you'll see in the app before you purchase your ticket. Get the lowest price guaranteed, or Game Time will credit you 110% of the difference. So take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the app, create an account, and use the promo code ON3, that's on3, for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply, folks. Again, create an account, redeem the code ON3 for $20 off. Download Game Time today. Last minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed. Okay. What's next, Tim? Oh, yeah. How about a new quarterback to talk about?
Man, we haven't talked recruiting in like 6 months.
I know.
It was like talks about
out of nowhere, Notre Dame gets a new commitment, Tim.
Oh, yeah.
Blake Hebert. He's committed to Clemson, June 2023. Picked Clemson over Notre Dame. And we're gonna break down the film in a minute, Tim. But this one, you guys tell me. Did you see any reports about Notre Dame looking to flip Blake Hebert before he announced? Nope. Out of left field. Yeah. There was the Bryce Baker kid, the kid committed to Cal, who I can't pronounce his name. What about Bear Bachmeier? Most of these names that were being floated out there, Notre Dame was in contact with, Tim. But Blake Hebert from Brunswick School in Greenwich, Connecticut, is the guy. And Hebert's a Canadian, by the way. Hebert is the guy Notre Dame really wanted. When Deuce Knight flipped, Hebert was the guy who Notre Dame was like, this is our first choice. And I interviewed Hebert's dad. I wanted to post this article earlier today. It's not done. So at this point, it's probably going to be Wednesday morning. You can find that article at blueandgold.com. Some really good stuff about we went through how everything played out from the first Notre Dame visit to yesterday. Hebert decided Monday afternoon he was committing to Notre Dame, and then announced it at 6 o'clock or something on Monday. There was no heads up. There's nothing really. This was one that just came out of the blue. We talked about this. Notre Dame likes to work in silence on a lot of these flips. And not all of them, but some of them for sure. Hebert being one of them. Now, Tim, people don't remember before he committed to before he committed to Clemson last summer, you were like, yes, I want this kid, right? This was like your guy.
Yep.
People have been saying that in the comments and on the message board.
Yeah. I mean, I loved his sophomore film. I mean, this was when they were right around that pot of gold day. I fully expected him to be a pot of gold day offer. Preston Zinner's his teammate, and you watch a ton of his film from his sophomore year. He's slinging it to Preston Zinner. Remember, he's playing tight end, wide receiver, slot. Zinner's all over the place. The dude is big, strong, cannon arm. Throws 50 yards with his eyes closed, just tossing the ball up with no effort. It's unbelievable film when you watch him as a sophomore. So I really liked him because as a Notre Dame fan, I'm like, okay, Notre Dame offers all these guys in the Deep South, and it's like, me, do the math. And that was my whole thing with this. Like, all right, do the math. Come on, go get the guy you could get who's really damn good. So that was my whole take with him. And I loved his film. And lastly, I like to compare guys in the class, meaning, so I watched Blake's sophomore film. Okay, what did CJ look like as a sophomore? What did Kenny Minchie look like as a sophomore? Blake's a better football player as a sophomore. To me, there's no ifs, ands, buts about that.
So Hebert had a strong sophomore season at Central Catholic in Lawrence, Mass. Played with President's Entry mentioned. It was like first drive of the second half, breaks his ankle. He's out for the season. Transfers to Brunswick School. Matty Augustine and Ethan Long, a couple of Notre Dame commits, are on that team. So watching some mid-season highlights of Hebert, what do you see?
And let me say just one more thing. Let me just say one more thing on that, Mike, is when he committed to, because obviously everyone, the ranking, the 30th best quarterback in the country. which is interesting. Lamar Jackson was 29th when he went to Louisville. So what does that mean, right? But he was, I want to say, the 65th ranked player by On3. He was the
Early
sixth ranked
in sophomore.
quarterback, the sixth ranked quarterback in the country. This is a guy that was consensus was, had he not gotten hurt, he is a top 50 football player. He would have went to the Elite 11. He would have done all those things. Breaks his ankle, he's out, he's got to recover. He misses all the camp circuits, all that stuff. So that's why his ranking is where it's at. So I just wanted to throw that out there as just a little where was he then to now type of a thing. But let's just be honest. The guy's a big, strong kid. He's about 6'3". He looks like he's about 220-ish. There's the picture of him committing. He's got bigger arms than Singer. He's obviously doing some lifting. So, great looking kid, great arm. Look at this throw. There are so many throws where you do it from where his foot is to where the ball's going. It's 50 yards nonstop, with just tossing it up there. He's got really good zip. And then what I like is he is way more athletic than you think.
4.6 electronic.
Yes, he is not this, stick in the mud type guy. Look at that throw. Just look at that throw. Look at his footwork. He sets, bam, like a laser dart right there. There's one out. Maybe you already played it, where it's from the left hash and he's throwing all the way to the sideline to the right. Those are not easy throws. That is a big-time college football quarterback throw. Yeah, you must have already played it. I was yapping about his rankings. But look at this little sidearm dink right there.
Yeah.
Throws it quick. It's not slow. You see his release. Obviously, let's compare him even to Riley Leonard. He's got a quick release.
Let me go there.
Go for it.
Let me go there. Fun comparisons, right? Comparisons of players that are fresh in our mind. I get the bigger body type of a Steve Angeli, that northeast, right? That's where he's playing his ball, but a mix of the Riley Leonard athleticism and playmaking ability. I kind of get like Angeli Leonard combined is like the comp, like a style of quarterback for me at least.
And then another guy, probably the most improved college football player quarterback is Cade Klubnik. He was left for dead last year. Clemson's down. Now he's the 10th ranked passing quarterback in the country, and they're off to possibly a playoff. Amazing what happens, in your second year into a starting as a system. And I'm thinking about him or CJ Minchie, whoever the hell it is. Once you get into that second year, you're just a different player. Run it back a little bit. There's one. God, I should have marked it. Darn it. There's this out route he throws. It's like a laser. So there's.
I'll start it back from the top in a second.
Yeah, no problem. Oh, yeah, I want to get into it since I was talking about his sophomore rankings, just to give some people a little context in that. But I would love to know his quarterback coach as well, because he has got
I believe and it's the same guy who trained McCarthy, Georgia M2. I think I might be wrong on that, but
he's got a little bit.
I'm familiar with the guy.
It's not, but he's got a little of. JJ's like McCann. I watched a lot of McCarthy film getting ready for the NFL draft. People were posting so much and diving into him, so I got to watch a lot of his film. Yeah, this one he just goes 90 yards with a blink of an eye, and those aren't some slow dudes out there chasing him. That's not you and I, Mike. Those are some guys trying to get him down a little bit faster. But I love and I say that about his quarterback coach because he's got really good fundamentals. Look how fast that ball just releases right there. He's got a posture and a stance with his shoulders in the pocket. I'm thinking of even a couple in his sophomore film where he is really damn good, and you can tell being coached. I think it's right here. Look at that, from one hash boom all the way over to there. That's just a dart. That's really strong. And I'm thinking about some of his sophomore film now. Look at that throw. It's just 50 yards. Just big little flick of the wrist, 50 yards in the air right there. So some good things. He's really good at, and some of my notes and rewatching his sophomore film. Look at this corner route, right on the dime, right to the spot. In coaching quarterbacks over the years, and being around some of the guys I've been with, you want to throw those to the spot. Look at that one, right to the spot. Let the wide receiver go make some plays. He's got a really good pocket presence, which is exciting to watch. People go back, watch his sophomore film. I'm talking about there's times where he moves up, slides, always sets his feet. And that's why I would love to know who does coach him on the side and stuff like that, because that was something I noticed in watching him is his constant resetting his feet, which is really good. He's not off balance a lot. So I liked him. I loved him as a sophomore. I thought he was the perfect Notre Dame quarterback to go with CJ Carr, go with Kenny Minchie, that type of a player. So when they didn't offer him, well, they did offer him a little late, right, obviously. So they went after him after the Pot of Gold day. I was bummed, and I was. I remember us did a show, and I was kind of like pissed, like, how do you not get this guy, man? This guy's like the perfect Notre Dame quarterback to me. So, and I say that because for me, my type of offense, which I think Notre Dame could just kick ass on because they run the ball so good. I mentioned it in our post-game show is Jack Cohn 2021. Once they learned Cohn is really good with the RPO, and we saw that with Riley Leonard last week. And when I say RPO, it's not zone read, option, crap like that. I'm talking about true read. If safeties and linebackers attack, throw the ball right behind them. That's when I talk about RPO. Some guys think RPO is a zone read. No, it's read the run or pass. And obviously with Notre Dame's running backs and their offensive line that they have, you have to stop their run. And that's why you need a quarterback like him that could just zing it over the top. So I'm excited. I was blown away, as you know, last night when I reached out to you, like, holy crap, this came out of nowhere. Yeah. And exciting, thinking back to June of 2023. So I'm really excited. I think he's a hell of a football player. Notre Dame. Let's spend 2 seconds on this. Is a steal.
Yeah.
Dabo Sweeney, for you guys that don't know, and Mike knows this in the recruiting world, is he doesn't go out and offer 12 guys. Every single year, he's single digits, like a handful or less. And he only offered 2 quarterbacks in this cycle. So when Notre Dame offered, I did some research. He had already taken like 3 or 4 visits to Clemson during his sophomore year. He was already in the whole process of being recruited by Dabo. So this is a massive steal. High five to Notre Dame, to Marcus Freeman, Chad Bowden, and obviously Coach Gino, and working behind the scenes. Mike Denbrock, obviously, this is Denbrock's. Obviously, he gave a thumbs up on this. He's not going to say yes to him. So just a high five to them working behind the scenes, which I know you guys.
Oh, Tim, you talk so much. You're killing me.
Go for it. What's wrong?
I wanted to correct myself like 6 minutes ago. You just keep yapping.
You're showing film. I'm having fun watching the film.
It's not JJ McCarthy's quarterback's coach. That's Greg Holcomb, who I know. Well, the quarterback's coach is named McCarthy. That's his last name. So I got that mixed up. M2, it's M2 QB Academy is the quarterback trainer. That's my bad. I would have corrected this 10 minutes ago, but Tim.
Hey. You kept showing film, and I kept talking. So
I'm just kidding. So yeah, it is a nice get, and for the Stargazers, listen, you flipped the Clemson quarterback commit. Clemson is pissed today that they lost this kid.
Yes.
Notre Dame is trying to flip a 4-star wide receiver from SMU, and you know what my Twitter mentions are? We shouldn't be flipping a kid from SMU. We should be going and flipping a Clemson kid. It's like, which one is it? I mean, goodness gracious, people just can't be happy. You flipped at the 11th hour. You flipped Clemson's quarterback commit. I mean, good God, what are we complaining about here, people? Get over yourself.
No, and that's why, people are like, well, why is your rank so low? He didn't play as a junior.
He didn't play.
And I'm okay in the ranking system of, if a guy misses an entire season, you can't keep him ranked number 65. You just can't. So
2 of the websites have him ranked as a 4-star. So I guess everyone's who's calling him a 3 stars, glass half empty. Just go with the end that ranks in the highest. That's fine, folks. But yeah, Blake Hebert, exciting one.
Yeah, exactly. Big win. It keeps just talk about the room once again. So there's going to be a lot of changes, right? We are going to see some change. He's an early enrollee, correct, Mike?
Yes.
Okay. So just think of that. Think come January. Damn good quarterback there. CJ Carr, hopefully his elbow's okay. Kenny Minchie, Steve Angeli. ACC portal quarterback. Don't say that, right, Mike? Don't say that. Okay, but I'm joking. I'm joking. I mean, that's 4 quarterbacks there. If you can't find a dude to go out and win some games next year, I wish you well.
Yeah. Guys, he's not okay. John says I have trauma from Plas. He literally is from Canada.
He's from Canada.
He just is playing high school ball in Connecticut. Like he played in Massachusetts before.
He's Preston Zinter's teammate out of Boston, Mass.
Yeah.
One of the major Catholic high schools in Boston. So
yeah,
he's a mascot.
Yeah, and again, he's a Canadian. And Notre Dame's other Canadian guy on the commit list is a 5-star. So, there you go. Tim, this is just Tim Hyde's day yesterday.
Oh, hold on real quick. Canadians, isn't Saviano a Canadian?
There you
go. Armel Mookum. Who else? We got like 5 Canadians, don't they?
Houston, Devin Houston.
Yes, Devin Houston. And there's another one I can't think of. I thought he would be their 5th, but maybe I'm wrong. But I know they have a handful of Canadians.
Yeah. So on Monday, Notre Dame also flipped Cameron Heron from Indianapolis Warren Central.
Love it.
See, I don't know what the Stargazers are going to do with this one because he flipped from Iowa, which is traditionally a really good O-line school. He's a 3-star. On3 has him ranked higher than everyone else, though. So, Tim, I remember after Irish Invasion when we did a show, we were both like, we could see Notre Dame later in the cycle going and flipping him. And that's exactly what the Irish did. They kept tabs on him. I remember when On3 bumped him to this 4-star status, I checked in. I had been keeping tabs on Heron a little bit, checked in with them about every 2-3 weeks, see if Notre Dame's in contact, and they were each time. And then when he got bumped to 4-star, I contacted a Notre Dame source, and I was like, put the feelers out there to see what the interest was like in Heron. Oh, yeah. So this one was not really a surprise to me personally, but Notre Dame did keep it under wraps that they were going after Heron. And then, we even did a report on it at Blue and Gold. I forgot about that. So if you're a blueandgold.com subscriber, like 2 weeks before, it's like the week of the Louisville game, because he was on campus this past weekend for the Stanford game, I put a report that Notre Dame was keeping close eye on him. And if Notre Dame offers, he's going to flip. Here we are. But yeah, Tim, here's your center of the future. He's 6'2.5", 275 pounds. This is him as a high school senior. Offensive linemen, Tim, usually don't have 6-packs. Like, this dude is ripped. He's not the tallest, but I think his arm length is 35.
Yeah, Kyle reported that, which is crazy.
I reported it, Tim.
I know. I'm giving Kyle Kelly.
And like a 5'2", 40 at like 275 pounds. Like, this dude, Cam Heron, was just way too good for the Irish not to take. Like, that is very much what happened here, Tim. So it's an exciting one, and I'll pop on. I think we have some midseason tape. He's got 9 minutes.
Well, he's definitely going to lose that 6-pack because he's going to be eating a lot of mashed potatoes and butter and gravy.
Yeah, okay? We'll be up to 300 pounds easy.
Yeah, and it's funny, my brain starts to work as, who's been the All-American centers, since Lou Holtz took over. And sure enough, Tim Hyde brought out the blue and gold yearbooks, Mike. You got 6'2" Chuck Lanza, 6'2" Mike Helt, 6'3" Tim Ruddy, 6'2" Sam Mustafer, 6'3" Braxton Cave, and my all-time favorite, Mike Goolsby's old guy who brought fear into his life, as he's mentioned many times, Jeff Fain, the best Notre Dame center in ages. So you don't need to be massive to be great. He's an absolute jerk, if I could say that out there. He is a tough dude. Violent, really, really tough, strong hands. Punch. Those are some of the things you notice as an O-line coach right away. Is he's not a flipper guy, meaning forearm. He's not grabbing. Like right there, elbows in, man. You want elbows in, thumbs up, striking like you're a damn boxer. And he is a violent, violent punch guy. So you and I talked about him a year ago.
Yeah.
And he was always one of my favorites because I just saw an effort guy. And I'm a massive fan of recruiting 4 linemen every damn year. And it was just like, take this guy, develop him, see where he goes down the road. So really, really good low base because he's short. So he's got a low base. So that's obviously going to help being a 6'2" center. And let's talk about that. He's been a left guard his whole career. He has played some center this year in these highlights. So they are mixing him from center to left guard. He's coming in to be a center. He's coming in to learn, to eat, do what Tim Hyde always says, right, Mike? See where you're at in year 3. So we don't want to hear about this guy. Go eat, go lift, go get your ass kicked on the scout team. Good luck blocking those D tackles. And let's see where you're at as a junior when Ashton Craig's going pro. So I'm really excited because he's an effort guy. And effort guys, man, up front, that's what Pat Coogan was, right? Coming out. He reminds me a lot of Jeff Rulin, who was Trevor Rulin, excuse me. Trevor Rulin's high school film was one of the best ones I ever saw. He was a mean son of a bitch. So that's who Cameron reminds me of. This is a perfect 4th lineman to bring in, to redshirt, develop, and let this guy go after it. And on top of that, as some of our Indiana residents on the Loose Emoji message board are always getting hyped up about, he's coming from a damn good high school, correct, Mike? This high school produces Division I football players each and every year. Yep. Each and every year. I think Sheldon Day I think this is Warren Central, correct?
Yes.
Where Sheldon's from. So, they crank out guys left and right all the time. We won't talk about the DN who's going to the SEC, but they produce some guys. So this is a good pick. In Iowa, if anyone knows how to produce interior offensive linemen that play in the NFL, it's Iowa. So it's like the same thing with Joe Alt. When you look at Joe Alt's offers, those are all developmental offensive line programs. And that's the same type of thing you got here with Cameron. So I love it, Mike. Give us a little bit more info on him.
Yeah. A couple things. This is a kid, I don't know if he grew up himself a Notre Dame fan, but I remember interviewing him after he visited in December 23 and then in January the next month. And I remember him telling me that he has so many Notre Dame fans in his family. Like Notre Dame, it's one of those things where if Notre Dame offers, I'm going there. You don't get too many, Tim, high caliber prospects like Heron who are like that. Let me explain. A lot of kids in the state of Georgia, you grow up a Georgia fan, right? Georgia is everything. A lot of the kids Notre Dame has to recruit, the kids are like, where is South Bend on a map? I don't know what state they're in. So if you have this big time talent like this, who grew up watching Notre Dame, learning about Notre Dame, family members love Notre Dame, it's just kind of refreshing, Tim, because Notre Dame doesn't get this a ton. Yeah, you're going to get a few Chicago kids every cycle, 1 or 2 Indiana guys. But when you do have these talented players in your home recruiting base, you got to do it because you just don't get them often. Georgia, Florida, Texas, USC, these schools are blessed to have just this elite talent near them with so many prospects. If you go to On3 and you search rankings by state, they do a top 100 for Florida. They don't do a top 100 for Indiana because there's not 100 Division I recruits at the FBS level. So this is nice. I like this, Tim. I love this kid. He's a great kid. I have been rooting for him to end up at Notre Dame. Super excited. Really jealous that Kyle Kelly got to interview him this week about the commitment, and I didn't get to talk to Cam myself. Right, but one more thought, Tim, going back to the tape. How about this little fun comp? He is Emil Wagner if Emil Wagner was a guard, right? Like that leaner, just super athletic. Watching Emil Wagner, someone's like, well, when he bulks up, Heron to me, he looks like a bodybuilder.
Yeah,
that's my take.
Yeah. With offensive linemen, you always talk about strike, your leverage, and the way you finish. And he fits all of those. He's nasty as hell. He plays the leverage, meaning he's going to get to the side he needs to get to. And his finish reminds me of Anthony Knapp's. going back to Anthony Knapp's film last year where he was just knocking the crap out
Everybody,
of guys
yeah.
everywhere. And I mean, you watched Anthony Knapp last year, same thing, low 3-star. Who the hell is he? But
on three, bumps him up high.
When you play with effort, you have a shot. And that's Anthony Knapp. He was just relentless last year. So that's the one thing I like him. And the more you watch him as Notre Dame fans, just constantly think of Sam Mustipher. He looks like Sam Mustipher's little brother. They're built the same squat body, the same nastiness. Like you're saying, the love of Notre Dame. I bet you Cameron's going to be a candidate to be a captain someday. He's just, he's those types of guys. So he reminds me a lot of Sam. That was the first guy I thought about instantly was Sam Mustipher. Braxton Cave. Braxton was another guy out of, Mishawaka Penn, I believe, up there in the South Bend area. So another great short center. Speaking of short centers, I like the research. I jumped on the Remington Award, which obviously is the nation's best center award every year. 6 out of the last 10 winners, Mike, have been 6'3", 6'1", 6'2". So only a couple monsters, and you could tell what schools they go to. But the best of the bunch is Tyler Lindenbaum out of Iowa. He's 6'1". He's the best one in the last decade. So the stud last year at Oregon is a maniac. He's 6'2". So I found that a little interesting tidbit for the best centers in the country are all Cameron Heron's size. So it's pretty interesting.
So this was the Monday. You had Cameron Heron flipping from Iowa to Notre Dame, Marcus Freeman announcing Ben Morrison's out for the year with hip injury, and then Blake Hebert flips to the Irish out of nowhere. That was quite the day yesterday. And I tweeted this out for folks watching on YouTube. My favorite character in television history is Ron Ulysses Swanson.
And I saw a comment. I think it was Jay Carr asked him why wasn't he offered Irish Invasion. You talked about this where he's always been on their list. Cameron's been one of those guys, like he's on our list. But the number was always 3. And you've talked about this 1,000 times where, recruiting numbers, we're at 3. We don't want to get 4. But I think at the end of the day, like you're saying, things change. His film, he wants to be at Notre Dame. Notre Dame wants him. And it's
plus also
happened.
Notre Dame knows they could get him anytime. Notre Dame probably knew they could flip him whenever they wanted to. That's probably a part of it as well.
And it's not like they were looking for a 4th guy. I mean, they're not recruiting 2025 linemen out there. So
no, it's just
this is as you said in your article, and when you posted about this, is this is one that's just true old school recruiting, senior film. We're going to bring you in.
Yeah.
I love it.
Well, Tim, good show.
I love it.
If you're just now joining us live, just rewind, watch the beginning of the show. We talked about some bracketology, which everyone loves. Ben Morrison injury. Tim talks about the O-line shocker, and then Notre Dame flipping Blake Heberts from Clemson. So good show as always, Tim. See, Jason just said injuries change things. Now injuries. No, I mean, for O-line, you're recruiting years in advance.
Yes,
I know Notre Dame's playing some really young guys, but that's because of injuries. Notre Dame's not recruiting extra guys because of injuries that are going to be taken care of in 2025.
Yeah,
Cameron's
going to be, as Mike just said, Emil Wagner. Emil was not playing until his junior year.
Yeah.
Cameron's going to be the same way.
Yeah. So, Tim, good show as always, folks. Hit the thumbs up on this video. Subscribe to the channel for more content if you have not done so yet. And yeah, no baby yet in the Singer household. When there is, it's gonna be like, oh, Mike usually does this show, but he's not here. That's I know I missed a couple shows last week, but if it happens again, that's why. So, all right. Well, Tim, appreciate you for being on the show tonight.
You got it.
As
Have
always,
a great week, everybody.
Yep, folks. Again, hit the thumbs up if you haven't done that yet. Really helps support us what we're doing at Blue and Gold. And as always, everyone, we will catch you next time.